Bonjour tout le monde, mon nom est Julie
Good
Payette.
afternoon, everybody. I'm Judy Payette, and I'm the Governor General of Canada. On this 3rd of December 2020, I will have another session of our conversation with the Governor General. We're living very difficult times with a second wave of COVID-19 that is hitting us hard and that will bother our Christmas plans. However, we should keep our vigilance and a positive mindset because we'll get out of it soon enough. I have a very interesting conversation to present to you today, but before presenting my two guests, very special guests, I'd like to play a little audio clip. Listen to it.
And good morning, Endeavour. Julie, that was some peaceful music for you to begin a busy day.
Julie, c'était une musique pour vous, pour débuter la journée. The voice we heard at the end of what was just said there is the voice of the CAPCON at the Houston Mission Control, who's saying good morning to the astronauts on the Endeavour capsule, and me in particular, because that particular piece of music, Dirigam Virtute Sui, from the Dixit Dominus of Entel, was played in space in 2009 to wake up the astronauts, but it was dedicated to me on that particular day because I loved it very much. This wonderful music in the space capsule as we're turning around the Earth, it was quite a phenomenon. Dixie Dominus, I had the opportunity to participate in a concert with the Baroque Tafelmusik Baroque Orchestra in Toronto when I was doing my master's, but it's a piece that's rarely performed with chorals because it's a rather complex piece of music. And when I arrived in Ottawa in 2017, I wanted to find a choir to be able to sing because I wanted to sing choral music. That's what I do. So I did a Google search and I put Dixit Dominus Ottawa, and the name that came out when I said that was Elizabeth Canton. Lisette Canton is with us today. Hi, Lisette. Bonjour. It's a pleasure for me to be with you today. Thank you. She is the founder and artistic director of the Ottawa Back Choir that has an international reputation, has just won the Juno Award 2020 for the best classic album of the year for vocal groups. Lisette is a professor and conducts in Ottawa and Toronto, and she's made many recordings. And she's also rather a novel approach to things. We'll talk about where she comes from, where the passion for music comes from as well, and what she has in reserve for us in December. We also have with us today, and it's a great privilege, the countertenor, Danielle Taylor. Danielle Taylor, how are you? Good day, madam. Welcome to the GG Conversation. Danielle Taylor is one of the most sought after countertenors with a more than a large number of recordings. He teaches ancient music, opera, and vocals at the University of Toronto. He's also the chief of the Department of Vocal Music at the Faculty of Music, and it's an honor to have you, Danielle. But I'd also like to say that you accepted in 2018 to have come along with the Governor General's delegation to Africa during a state visit as our invited artist to show your talent and all the talent we have here in Canada. Before asking you where you come from. For those who are not very familiar with what the countertenor voice is, I'd like us to listen to you sing a piece. And we have here a small extract from the Dixit Dominus from Handel, who was that won the Juno Award with the Ottawa Black Choir. And it's the extract called Virgum Virtutis Tuae.
Bravo, Daniel Taylor. N'est-ce pas magnifique?
Bravo, Daniel Taylor. How magnificent. What a power. What a voice. So, to you. You were born in New Orleans, Lisette, in the United States, but you arrived rather young in Canada. What brought you here? And what brought you to become a musician and a conductor, choir conductor? In New Orleans, I think I was born with music in my soul. My grandfather was a musician in New Orleans, and my great uncle played the piano with a jazz clarinetist, well known, and that was always there. The music was always there with my family and that. I always played the piano and sang in choirs. I played the French horn at high school, and conducting came quite naturally to me, and that's how I started. And it's been some time now that I'm with the Black Choir in Ottawa, 9 years, and we're going from
D'un genre à l'autre, d'un concert à l'autre?
you go from one concert to another, but we're growing. We're growing together. It's very enriching. That is quite certain. Everybody comes on tippy toes. So, Daniel Taylor, you also are a conductor, but above all, you're a singer. Talk to us about your musical career. I started at age 10 as a soprano in a choir here in Ottawa, St. Matthew's Church Choir, with Richard Dacey and Charleston Renner and others. And then I studied at McGill and at the University of Montreal. So hi to all my friends from there. After that, I went to England to pursue further studies. But often, I guess you get the question, people listen to your voice, and it's that of a countertenor. But your normal voice is out of a tenor, but you sing at the same register as an alto. How do you manage to go from there to there? Well, first of all, I'd like to say that when I was invited at some point in the United States, when I was 23 or 24 years old, so I walked on the stage, and there was a bunch of students that were there, and I started speaking like that. And I said, hello, everybody. And everybody broke into laughter. So it's a technique. Well, singing is singing. That means I did my studies with a countertenor, but also with a regular tenor and a baritone. I see it as an extension of my normal voice. And it's like when I was a boy. I try to find a natural purity with that. And what's interesting is that you were exposed without knowing it, and you found a passion there. And that's what often happens in life. I'll go back to you, Lisette, now. Now, obviously, it's Christmas time, but this will not be normal seasons, holidays. With the pandemic, there's a lot of cases, a lot of deaths, a lot of people in the hospital. People are hurting, suffering, but it's important to carry on and to keep a positive mindset. And that's what brought you to decide to do a Christmas concert with the Back Choir Ottawa. Could you tell us a little bit about that? It was taped last week, right? And will be played on the 5th of December. And the 5th of December, yes, we started when we noticed that everybody was being silent. So we started doing virtual videos. And after that, the Professional Choir Group of Canada, we conducted some research and we found ways of continuing to sing with social distancing, with masks, and with portable ventilators. So we did all of that. And when we came together in October, we sang the concert. It's difficult to sing. Let's have a look at what it gives. And this is a scoop. The concert will be aired on the 5th of December online. But therefore, as a world premiere, you have the Ottawa Back Choir. And as you see, we followed the health authorities' directives. It's the Cantate Domino.
C'est donc cet extrait qui a été enregistré.
That was taped last Saturday at St. Paul Cathedral, Ottawa, and it will be aired on the internet on the 5th of December. You also taped something recently, right? Recorded something at the Massey College, Toronto. Can you tell us a little bit about it? When you invited me to speak here today, I thought of the people who are hurting with this pandemic.
Bientôt, mais là, oui, j'ai décidé d'offrir une.
And I decided to produce a little Christmas song, something not well known, but it comes from the Renaissance or somewhere around there. We're not too sure. And what I want to say is that I dedicate it to the people who are suffering right now. But I'd also like to say that I spent a few days with you when we were in Africa together in 2018. And I have a lot of admiration for you. And so you can think of it as a gift to you. Thank you. Let's listen to it.
Please. Merci infiniment.
Thank
Daniel
you
Taylor.
very much, Daniel Taylor.
On aurait cru que vous étiez dans une
Well,
cathédrale.
I would have thought you were in a cathedral, but it's the Massey College at the University of Toronto, a very special environment. Thank you very much.
Vous avez
And
donné un cadeau
you
en remerciement, en hommage
gave
à
us a
tous
gift
ceux qui travaillent dans la
to honor all those who have been working very hard these last some months to fight against the virus
Et d'ailleurs,
and to help people. And Lisette,
nous avons eu
we
une
had a special request at the Ottawa Backchoir during the first wave of the pandemic when a doctor from Notre Dame Hospital said to us that one of the things that was very difficult in emergency medicine these days is that they're with people living their last days and that no one close to them was helping them, and he felt very touched as a first line intervener to be with these people. So we offered them a little gift. Tell us about it. Yes, what we did is we started doing virtual videos, and I selected the Dona Nobis Pacem from the Mass in B minor by Juan Sebastian Bach. As I said, Bach is the alpha and the omega of music, the end and the beginning and the end. And I thought it would be a very peaceful piece, and it would give hope and beauty to people. So we recorded it in June with 29 individual recordings. So we had to synchronize. Each person recorded separately in her own home, and then we mixed it with technology. And you sent it out throughout Canada. Yes, it's my team here that also sent it out, and we made a little audio file out of it, and we sent it everywhere so that people can download it on their phone and play it, because it's the Dona Nobis Pacem from the B minor Mass. Give us peace.
Dona Nobis Pacem. D'ailleurs,
Give us peace. And that piece starts with the bass voices. And Lisette, someone writes on Facebook, Devon Post asks, why are the basses the best section in a choir, in a choral ensemble? It isn't the best section, but the bass are part of the in order to have a harmonious ensemble. Oh yes, the truth and the whole truth. So the person who wrote in is a member of a back choir elsewhere. Before continuing, another question was raised by our team here. Okay, you've traveled throughout the world. And you've traveled differently, but you've worked with people from a little bit everywhere in the world. Is it different being a classical musician in another country? What's it like? What's different? What's similar? Daniel, with you, we'll start. Perhaps I can.
Comme ce qu'on fait maintenant dans notre société. Je parle avec COVID.
With COVID, in my opinion, the pandemic allowed us to bring to light several failings in our system, whether it be in the long-term care residences or healthcare system. And we have a decision as a society, and it's no longer a question of financial resources. We have that. Rather, when will we act? If we believe in social equity, then in social justice, the only question remains is, will we act, and how can we do it in an equitable fashion? Because yes, it was very difficult for artists as well, and people in scenic arts, composers, choirs, orchestras, a very difficult time with the pandemic, and it remains so. But there are nonetheless ways. We saw it with the extracts, we saw to innovate and do things differently. Carry on. Yes, there's also visible minorities and other groups marginalized. Yeah. And these.
Je trouve ça difficile à répondre parce que là, ce que je vois maintenant, c'est que notre gouvernement, je ne suis pas convaincu et je ne parle pas du gouvernement fédéral, je parle de chaque gouvernement dans chaque.
Talking about governments generally.
Là, je ne suis pas convaincu qu'ils comprennent que les arts redonnent non
seulement. Don't know if they understand that arts is not just because we participate in the economy, but they bring about a psychological well-being to those who listen. So we're trying to seek out the ideal conditions to allow artists to grow and flourish, yes, and share their art, of course. And music, what is Maurice, sung music in particular, is something that all can do. We don't have to belong to a professional choir in order just to sing. And Lisette, we're in the festive period, the holiday period, where once again, we're not going to be able to celebrate as usual because there's also some difficult situations. But what do you suggest to people to help them participate, to carry on so that it feels good to sing? Well, you know, the 3.5 million people in Canada sing in choirs and such, not 28,000 choirs in Canada. It's very important for people to participate in, but not just for artistic expression, but for mental health. And it's a very good fashion to connect with those we love and with people generally and with beauty in the world. And it gives us hope. So it's very important that we continue doing this, and we can do it. Research shows that we can do it safely. So, and that's what we're trying to do. We're continue to hold our concerts, and we want to bring joy, love, and peace to people here in Canada and throughout the world. And at least in Canada, we have the yes, we do. We do have help that way. So you talked about the marginalized group, Danielle, and we just got a listener who is sending in a text saying from Halifax, who wants to know what can we do to make the things more equitable for young musicians coming up, and for in this time of pandemic, in particular for those who come from economically disfavored communities and marginalized groups. I think that the music classes and the opportunity of doing music together at all levels, perhaps you could add to that. In addition, we have to start at the top to recognize that it's something good. There's a lot of questions about how they organize their programs for our students and young singers. And for example, at the University of Toronto, we have to do better.
Ça ouvre beaucoup de questions pour des personnes.
This opens up a lot of questions for someone like me.
Je veux pas parler pour des personnes qui ont été marginalisées.
I don't want to talk for these marginalized groups, but at the same time, I'm in a position where I can do something to be more inclusive, to bring them in. Yes. Yeah. But the system is there. I hope we can do better. One thing is, sir, and Lisette mentioned it, there's a lot of vocal groups in the country. We can sing in our church or other congregation and choirs, in barbershop quartets, etc. Go and sing. It's good for you in these difficult times. It's very possible still to do it. Lisette, during the Christmas period, people sing Christmas songs and all that, always very important. So we have someone who listened to the concert about which had a Christmas song called The Sailor's Carol, the Christmas song of the sailor that was composed by Matthew Larkin, a well-known organist here in Ottawa. So maybe we could listen to your group doing that, and we'll come back.
Voilà, je suis de retour. J'ai eu un petit problème technique en plus.
A little bit of a technical problem in continuity. Lisette Christmas carols, they're quite fantastic. I'd like you to share your wishes for Canadian with us right now. Music and arts allow us to remain connected with each other, and we can give joy and love and peace. And we have to, in these difficult times, remain productive and to have music in our lives and to sing. We can do it alone or with our loved ones. So I invite you all to continue watching concerts in a digital or virtual form that many groups are now taping or recording for the Christmas period. So Merry Christmas. And I hope that you will remain healthy. Thank you, Lisette, for that. Danielle, what would you say to Canadians at this time? We need music to find balance in this difficult time. Music stimulates a thought and creativity. It helps us find answers to problems, and it lifts up our souls. Thank you very much, Lisette Canton, Daniel Taylor, for what you're doing with the force of music, the power of music, and for the gifts that you offer us with through your talent. Thank you once again for taking the time to come and talk to us in the GG conversation. It's quite appreciated. We'll have to do it. It's too short. Thank you for having done it in both languages, one in French and one in English. Thank you. Thank you very much. And for those who listen to, sorry that I switched cameras, but there was a little bit of a technical problem here. Next week, we will have Her Honor, the Lieutenant Governor of Newfoundland and Labrador, Judy Foote, will tell us what's going on in Newfoundland during this period. And we have a little project together that might interest you. So to all of you who are listening to us, be careful. So you be vigilant and remain safe. And here with my little angel, I say goodbye to you. With the Ottawa back choir, the Dixit Dominus 8th movement, a gift for you, Gloria Patri et Filia.